Hey everyone, and welcome to this Quant Masters session on YouTube, where we're gonna take a look at TCS NQT Day 3 Slot 2 Programming Logic MCQs that have been asked. We're gonna try to look at these questions and we're gonna try to answer them so that it becomes hugely easy for you to figure out how to answer such easy and simple questions, to be honest. So, without further ado, let's begin it very quickly. So, this is Shashank here, your technical trainer from Quant Masters. So, let's go ahead and take this live session up. If you do like this video, if you do like this content, you can always go through more of our content in our channel, which are going to be hugely beneficial as we have technical, verbal, reasoning, logical, quantitative aptitude for a lot of interviews that have been solved. And if you want to enroll for our special program as well, you can always go through our description and give it a check. So let's go ahead and begin solving these 10 questions that have been asked. So here's the first question that has been asked in this programming logic MCQ series. So the program sounds simple. We have a main function where we have an integer variable I whose value is 3. Now we are performing switch operation with I. We know that switch operation can only be performed with either character or integer. You cannot perform it with float or double. We are using character or integer, so that's not a problem. So if you take a look at the switch case, after each case you have break. So whichever case it goes to, it's going to exit after that. You don't have to worry about multiple things being printed. Now here the confusion comes up as there's case 0, which is simple, but what about others? There's case 1 plus 0, there's case 5 by 2, there's case 8 mod 5. Will it work? Will it give an error? This is the confusing part for us. If you figure it out, your compiler is going to look at whatever is ahead of case until colon and consider it as your single element. So 1 plus 0 is considered as a single element for case, so is 5 by 2, so is 8 by 5. So they're going to be calculated in this order. So case 1 plus 0 is going to be case 1, case 5 by 2 is going to be case, take a guess, 2 times 2 is 5, 4, result is 1. Since it is division, we get the quotient, which is going to be 2. So case 5 by 2 will end up being as case 2, whereas case 8 mod 5 will become, let's try dividing 8 with 5 and let's get the remainder. So 5 times 1 is 5 and the remainder we get is 3. So 3 is supposed to be the value we will have here. If we take a look at this, it is going to be 3. So 3 is going to be the value we get here. So since our I value is 3, we're supposed to go to this case. There's no repetition of values, so that's no error. So we're going to go to case 3, which is going to print dates on the screen. That's the simple output for this program. With this simple question clear, let's quickly move ahead to the second question that has been asked. So the second question is based on a simple pseudocode which resembles a programming language but actually is not a programming language. So unfortunately the answer is not supposed to be here. Let's remove that. We're not supposed to know that until we solve it. So let's quickly try solving this. So if you take a look at this, we have the first statement which says read a variable a whose value is 5. That's completely fine. We've read a variable a whose value is 5. Once we're done with that, we are supposed to initialize, or it's supposed to be declared technically, but let's take two new variables called res and res1. We're declaring, to be honest, not exactly initializing. We're not giving it any value. So res, we are storing it with a plus plus. Now remember, this is post increment. Since it is post increment, I'm supposed to copy whatever is in a to result and then increase a. So I'm going to copy whatever is in a to result. A value is 5. We're going to copy it to result and increase the value of a by 1 to 6. Then I have result 1 equals plus plus a. So I'm going to pre-increment a first and then store the result in the variable called res1. So we're going to store 7 here. Then we have the next value, that is res minus minus and minus minus res1. Now, if you observe this, we are not storing the result anywhere. Whenever you are performing either pre-increment or post-increment, either pre-decrement or post-decrement, if you're storing a value somewhere, it makes a difference. Because if you're storing in pre-increment, you're increasing first and storing. If you're storing the result in post-increment or decrement, you're increasing or decreasing after storage. But if you're just writing something like a minus minus, or let's say minus minus a, it makes no difference, because after these two statements, a will be reduced. It makes no difference because you are not storing them anywhere to another variable. If you store them, then the result makes a difference. But at the end, a will reduce at the end of the statement here. So when I reduce res and res1, it makes really no difference. I'll just reduce res to 4 and result 1 to 6. That's it. Now, let's take a look at the next statement. Res minus equals res1. These are some simple shorthand operators. When you write res minus equals res1, it is same as res is equal to res minus res1. In short, a minus equals b is same as a equals a minus b. The same logic is what we are applying here as well. So let's quickly take a look at this. So in this case, when you try this out, res is 4, 4 equals 4 minus res1 is 6. So let's not worry about the left hand side now. So we're supposed to calculate the right hand side and then assign to left hand side. So let's calculate the right hand side value, which is 4 minus 6, which is going to be minus 2. So minus 2 is what we are supposed to store in our left hand side variable, which is res. So when you store minus 2 over to res, let's update that to minus 2. What are we printing? We are printing res at the end, which is supposed to be minus 2. That's the output. So this is your simple output for this program. So this also sounds like a very simple and easy question. Now let's move ahead to the next question that we have. Let's quickly write this down, copy this down, and start to read it and understand it. So here's the question. Mr. J is new to OOPS concept. He's trying to understand it in real time. That's fine. So he gets up from his couch. To and open the main door. Let's forget and open the main door using the door lock. Which OOPS concept describe the use of door lock where users only know how to operate the door lock but are aware of internal mechanism? That means he is opening the door lock. He doesn't know in which way the levers work and everything of the door. He's just applying the lock and he's opening the door lock. He doesn't know in what way it works, how many centimeters or millimeters each lever is and everything like that, or how much degree rotation he has to do. He just opens the door. So what of which of the following concept of OOPS represents the idea that he is unaware of internal mechanism? That's called data abstraction. Polymorphism is where you have one thing in multiple forms. We don't have anything in multiple forms here. Inheritance is where one class inherits something from another class. We don't have that here. We have nothing about a class. Abstraction is where you're hiding details, hiding internal mechanism, hiding details of a class which others should not know. So the basic idea here is using abstraction. So your result answer here is supposed to be data abstraction. Now let's go for the next question very quickly. We have this little program which we're supposed to figure out what will be the output of. Let's take a quick look at this. So here's the program. We have a variable here called toys. Let's start with that. Now, what are we doing here? We have a for loop here. Now, if you take a look at this for loop, it's very confusing because this for loop basically has nothing. If you observe this for loop very closely, there's no initialization, there's no condition, it's just increment. And in this increment, we are printing the variable of toys and we are performing toys plus equals 4. Now what is plus plus equals 4? Remember, it is same as post increment and then checking if it is equal to 4. That's all that you're doing. Now, in the question, they've also given that you have to assume that the initial value is 0 over here. That's the idea. So, assuming that the initial value is 0, let's take a quick look at this. Initial value, let's take toys is 0. Now, the first thing we have here is for. Do we have anything in initialization and condition? No. That means there is no initialization, and since there is no condition, it's an infinite loop. But is it an infinite loop? We don't know, because break exits from any loop. If we execute break statement, that means we are exiting the loop. So let's start with this. Since there is no condition, that means condition is true, we go for the for loop, we execute the first statement where we are printing the value of choice. The value of choice is 0, let us print the choice value, which is 0. Then we are checking if toys plus plus is equal to 4. See, this is toys plus plus is equal to 4. This is post increment. Since it is post increment, I am supposed to compare whether toys is equal to 4 first and then increase toys. So I'm going to compare toys and 4. Toys is 0. Is 0 equal to 4? Absolutely no. Since it's not true, it's not going to execute break. It goes back, performs the increment. When you increase it, toys value becomes 1 instead. Sorry, one small mistake here, one small change we're supposed to do here. When we compare toys is equal to 4 initially, toys is 0, 0 is not equal to 4. Since the condition is not true, we are going ahead. This post increment is not executed yet, which we're supposed to execute now. So we're going to perform post increment as toys, we're going to increase to 1. So when toys is increased to, let's say, 1, for example, here, we're going to check in the next case. I'm just going to edit this so that I can change this directly to 1. Right, perfect. So I'm going to increase the toys value to 1. Done. Now, after this, since the condition is not true, it's not going to execute break. It instead is going to go for increment. So again, toys, we're going to increment once more. This time it becomes 2. Is there a condition? No. So let's go in. We're supposed to print the value of toys. The value of toys is now 2. After printing it, we check for this condition. Toys plus plus is equal to 4. Again, compare if toys is equal to 4. Toys is 2. 2 is not equal to 4. Since they are not equal, let us perform the increment here. That is from 2, we're going to increase it all the way over to 3. Once that is done, we're going to go back, increment toys value once more within the for loop, which is now going to become 4 on the other hand. Now we're going to check. We're going to print the value toys, which is going to be 4. After printing, we're going to check. If toys is equal to 4, then we will post increment. Is toys equal to 4? Of course it is. The value 4 is equal to 4. Since it is equal, it will increase the value of choice to 5. And then we go into the if condition because now it is equal. We're going to execute the break statement, which means we exit the for loop. There's nothing else. That's the end. Your output is supposed to be 0, 2, and 4. This is your simple output for this particular program. So I hope that's a very simple and easy program for us to try out. Now, let's quickly go ahead to the next case. So the next question we have is this. In data structures, time and space complexity are represented by asymptotic notation. Which one of the following notation is not used to represent? We use theta, we use omega, and we use O. Best case, best case is omega, average case is theta, worst case is O. We don't use anything called big gain. So that's the wrong one. So it's a very basic concept, basic question which most of us know that has been asked. Now with this, let's go for the next question very quickly. Let's take this very simple question. We have a variable a whose value is initially 0. Perfect. Now we're checking if a plus plus, if this condition. Now if you take a look at this, we're always supposed to give a conditional statement with an if, like less than, greater than, less than equal to, greater than equal to, not equal to, or is equal to, or something like that. But instead we are giving a plus plus. That's because you can literally write anything with an if condition. The only scenario is that whatever you write will execute, and if the result of what you write is zero, then it is considered to be false. If the result of what you're writing here is non-zero, it is considered to be true. Let's take a look at this. This is a plus plus. Remember, it is post increment. Since it is post increment, for this if condition, a will be considered as 0 itself because its current value is 0. So a is considered as 0 itself and sent over here to if condition. After the condition, a is then increased to 1. So if you take a look at this, a is checked, sent, the value of a is sent to if condition, which stands to be 0, then it is incremented to 1. Since the value sent to if condition is 0, which is always considered to be false, we go to else and we get to print no on the screen. That's it. That's your simple answer for this question. Now let's take the next question, which is again a very simple question based on switch case, which we have been asked. So I'm just going to paste this here. Let's go ahead and try solving this. So here's what we have. Now let's start working on this. So this program seems to be slightly tricky. Let's take a look at this. We've been given a short int whose name is diff, whose value is 1. And we're supposed to execute this, where we're supposed to calculate what is plus diff minus diff plus plus. Now, if you go by C language, we know post increment has the highest precedence, then pre increment, then subtraction. That's how it works. So that's the technicality. But also remember that all compilers won't work the same in this scenario because you're incrementing one variable more than one time before you reach a semicolon, which should always end up as undefined behavior. But what if undefined behavior is not there in the answer? How do we figure this out? How do we solve this out? Let's take a quick look at this. This is pre-increment and this is post-increment. Let's start left to right. Now, let's see how this can be solved in short. In logical scenario, if you take a look at this, let's start left to right. First up, pre-increment the value of diff. So if you pre-increment it, it was 1. Let us pre-increment it to 2. When we pre-increment it to 2, plus plus diff has become 2. 2 minus diff plus plus. This is post-increment. What's the value of diff? 2. And I'm going to increase this later on. What is 2 minus 2? 0. 0 is what is sent in switch. Do we have a case 0? No. Of course, diff is increased to 1 later on. But do we have a case 0 here? No. So what does it do? It goes to default and it prints the value none. That is your simple logic for this particular program. Now, with this simple and clear, let us quickly move ahead to the next example. Before we go to the next example, I just wanted to point out, I think I said 2 as the final value just a few seconds ago. It's supposed to be 3 at the end. The idea is pretty simple. Why is it? You're pre-incrementing it here from 1 to 2. It becomes 2. So it's supposed to be basically 2 minus 2. And then the value will be increased later on. The value which is 2 will be increased to 3 later on. Since it is increased to 3 later on, the value of diff is 3. But what is sent to switch on the other hand is 0. Because 2 minus 2 is basically 0. That's how this program works in short logically. So I hope that's very simple and easy for us to quickly work through, understand and solve. Now, let us go ahead to the next one. Now, the next one is also a very simple program. Now, all these questions are based on very basic scenarios. Let's take a look at this. We have two variables. One is called stones, one is called pebbles. Let's take stones equals 5, and let's take something called pebbles equals 1. So these are what we have. Now let's take a quick look at this. We're supposed to print stones at the end, before which we're supposed to perform this calculation. Let's write this down. This is stones minus equals pebbles plus equals stones. Always remember, assignment is always right to left. So we're supposed to execute this right to left as it is. So let's try this out. So let's start with the rightmost one. Rightmost one is pebbles plus equals stones, which is same as pebbles equals pebbles plus stones. What's the value of this? Let's take. It's same as pebbles equals pebbles plus stones in short. What is pebbles plus stones? 1 plus 5, which is 6. That 6, where are we storing? We are storing it back in pebbles here. So we're supposed to have it as pebbles plus equals stones, which is same as pebbles equals pebble plus stone. Pebble plus stone is 5 plus 1, which is 6, which we are storing in pebbles, which now becomes 6. So this part is done. Pebbles is now 6. Now we're going to execute the next half of it, next part of it. Pebbles should be stored here. What is the condition? Stones minus equals pebbles. That is same as stones equals stones minus pebbles. What is stones minus pebbles? Stones is 5. Pebbles is 6. 5 minus 6 gives us minus 1. Final value of stones is minus 1. That minus 1 is what we are printing as stones at the end. That's it. That's your value. So in short, just to remember, we execute the right side assignment first. Whatever result we get, that is what we copy to the left side assignment. That's it. That's the whole scenario. So I'm just going to clear this and let's quickly go on to the next question over here. Let's give this a try. Again, a very simple question based on basic operations. Let's take this. We have x is equal to 5 and y is equal to 5. And we are having a condition where we are writing if not of x divided by y. What exactly does this mean? Let's take a look at this. Not operation is a unary operation, which means you have to work right to left. So let's solve whatever is in the right side, which is in a set of brackets. We need to solve that. What is x by y? That is 5. Sorry, this is not divided by. This is or. I'm very sorry for that. It's not divided by. It is bitwise or. So I'm supposed to perform 5 or 5. So I'm going to write this is not of 5 or 5. What is 5 or 5? Let's write 5 in binary. Binary 5 is 101 or 101. When you use or, when any one of the input is true, output is true. When both inputs are false, output is false. So you're going to get the same result. 5 or 5 is 5 itself. This is bitwise. Since it is bitwise, I'm going to get 101, which is basically 5 itself. So not of 5 bitwise 5 is same as not of 5. There's no difference. Now what is not of 5? Remember, not is a logical operator. Any non-zero value within not becomes 0. Whenever it is not of 0, it becomes 1. This is the scenario. We have not of 5 here. 5 is a non-zero value. Since it's a non-zero value, not of 5 is going to become 0 on the other hand. Since it is going to be 0, it basically will be represented as if of 0. 0 is considered to be false in C language. Since it is going to be if of 0 and 0 is considered to be false, it's going to go to else and it's going to print x not equal to y on the screen. That's the simple logic. Now let's go for the last question, which is again a very simple and easy question, which we'll try to solve very quickly. This is the 10th question that we have here. So if you take a look at this, we have a variable called catch and we have a for loop. Now if you take a look at this for loop, there's something peculiar. You have a semicolon at the end of for loop. You're not supposed to have this. Generally, for loop never ends with a semicolon. What does this mean? This means that Your semicolon means end of statement. That means for loop is ending here. In short, what this means is if you write a semicolon at the end of for loop, that basically means you're writing empty brackets, which means there are no statements for the for loop at all. That is the whole idea. Just remember, a semicolon at the end of the for loop means there are no statements within it. It will still execute. It will still check if the condition is true. But the problem is when condition is true, it's got nothing to execute because it has no absolute condition. It has no absolute, let's say, statements to no conditional, no statements based on condition to execute. So let's try executing this for loop. So the for loop has an initialization part where cat is given the value 5. What is the condition? Condition is cat is greater than 1. Of course it is true. Since it is true, we're supposed to go execute the statement. What do we think? We're going to execute this printf. Absolutely no, wrong decision. We're supposed to not execute that. We're just supposed to go perform increment or decrement because there are no statements. If the condition is true, directly go for increment decrement. If the condition is false, then exit the for loop and go to next statement, which is printf, which was supposed to execute when the condition is false and we are exiting this scenario. So cat is greater than equal to 1, true. So let us reduce it by 1 to 4. Now, is 4 greater than equal to 1? True. Reduce it to 3. 3 greater than 1 equal to 1 is 2. Reduce it to 2. Remember, there are no statements. That's why I'm juggling between condition and increment decrement again and again. Once we have reduced it to 2, let's go back to condition. 2 greater than equal to 1? Yes. So reduce it to 1. 1 greater than equal to 1? Yes. Reduce it to 0. Is 0 greater than equal to 1? Absolutely no. That is when we exit the for loop, we go to the next statement where we are printing cat. What's the value of cat? It is 0. So your output is 0 here. That's it. That's your simple solution. This is not the logo of Instagram. It's just the output being 0. So this is your simple program. These are your 10 easy, simple questions. These are really sort of basic things which we generally don't learn in textbooks, but we get to learn in other ways. So most of the things you don't get to learn in textbooks or what are asked in interviews like this. You just need some really good knowledge basically within this. So if you want to go through more programs like this, do check out our channel. If you want to know how to go through our special courses to get to know everything on technical, verbal, aptitude, that is reasoning, logical, quantitative, you can definitely check a description of our channel, and if you're interested, you can join our courses as well. So with this, we'll end our session on solving NQT's slot 2 of 14th September 2021, that is today. And with this, we'll catch up in the next sessions very soon. Until then, have a good time and take care.